If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Stop me if this sounds familiar, but the Cleveland Browns are staring down the undeniable truth. Joe Flacco probably won't be leading the team on the next playoff run. It's a tough pill to swallow for fans who've held on to the veteran quarterback's experience and poise, but the reality in the NFL is brutal, and the Browns are likely already planning for life beyond Flacco. Sure, Dillon Gabriel and SHEDEUR Sanders are on the roster, but both have yet to prove themselves as franchise-altering talents capable of guiding Cleveland to playoff glory. The Browns front office, fully aware of this gap at the most critical position on the field, will almost certainly be eyeing a first-round quarterback in the next NFL draft, regardless of how the current QBs perform in the upcoming season. With that in mind, it's never too early to start scouting the quarterbacks who could someday command a parade down Superior Avenue, bringing hope, excitement, and a renewed sense of possibility to the Dawg Pound. One name that immediately pops up in any quarterback conversation is Garrett Nussmeier. Nussmeier is something of an anomaly in this modern era where quarterbacks constantly transfer in search of playing time. Stepping onto LSU's Baton Rouge campus in 2021, he was one of the last remaining holdovers from the Ed Orgeron era, sitting patiently for 3 full seasons before finally getting his shot as the Tigers' starting quarterback. And when he did not disappoint. Garrett, the son of Saints offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier, threw for over 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns in his inaugural season as the starter, a remarkable feat considering the amount of time he spent waiting in the wings. His first game as a starter came against Clemson, a brutal season opener on the road, and while he had a slow first half, he found his rhythm to finish with 232 passing yards and a touchdown, helping LSU secure a significant early season win. Not every game has been a masterpiece, of course. His performance against Louisiana Tech, which ended in a 23-7 win, left a lot to be desired, showing that consistency remains a work in progress. However, Nussmeier has an abundance of opportunities to refine his craft and build off his strong 2024 campaign, with 5 more ranked games looming on the schedule, a proving ground that could cement him as a legitimate NFL prospect. Then there's LaNorris Sellers, who is quickly making waves despite flying under the national radar for much of last season. Sellers ended the 2024 regular season with a bang, leading South Carolina to 6 consecutive wins and thrusting himself into the extremely early chatter for the 2026 NFL Draft. Unlike Nussmeier, Sellers' game isn't built on surgical accuracy through the air, but rather on a rare blend of dual-threat capability that makes him uniquely dangerous. Last season, he threw for 2,500 yards and 18 touchdowns while adding nearly 700 yards and 7 more scores on the ground. That kind of production, particularly in the final stretch of the season, is impossible to ignore. However, Sellers still has work to do in terms of consistency and efficiency. Through the first 2 games of the current season, he's accumulated 337 passing yards and 48 rushing yards. Solid, but not jaw-dropping. His passing accuracy remains a concern, hovering at just 60%, and he has yet to face the top-tier defenses that will define his draft stock. The real test will come in the back half of the Gamecock schedule, which includes 6 ranked opponents in their final 7 games. If Sellers can elevate his performance against stiff competition, the Browns and other NFL teams will have a legitimate quarterback to seriously consider when the draft rolls around. Arch Manning, of course, is another name that generates instant debate, and he is arguably the most polarizing college quarterback since Johnny Manziel. Sitting 2 seasons behind Quinn Ewers at Texas, Manning finally got his chance to start, but his debut was, to put it mildly, underwhelming. Facing Ohio State at Ohio Stadium, Manning struggled to find a rhythm, completing passes sporadically while the Longhorns managed a mere 7 points. Playing the defending champions on the road is a daunting debut by any measure, but the rough start certainly gave scouts and fans plenty to discuss. Manning, however, responded in emphatic fashion the following week against San Jose State, putting up video game-like numbers that reminded everyone of the pedigree he carries. As the Longhorns progress through their schedule, which includes 2 more non-conference matchups before diving into a relatively forgiving SEC slate, all eyes will remain fixed on Manning. His legendary last name brings immense expectations, and with his grandfather Archie speculating publicly about a potential return for the 2026 season, the narrative surrounding Arch Manning is only growing more intriguing. For Cleveland, a quarterback like Manning represents a tantalizing possibility, a high-ceiling talent capable of reshaping a franchise, assuming the development curve aligns with the Browns' ambitions. Cade Klubnik enters the conversation under a different set of circumstances. After guiding Clemson to its first playoff berth since the days of Trevor Lawrence, Klubnik came into this season with significant hype surrounding his abilities. His first 2 seasons under Dabo Swinney were marked by impressive dual-threat performances and gaudy statistical outputs, fueling the perception that Klubnik could be a first-round talent whenever he decided to enter the NFL draft. Yet, this season has started on a rockier note than anticipated. Clemson's home loss to LSU in the opening game was a tough introduction, with Klubnik unable to get the offense firing as expected. The subsequent win over Troy, while a step in the right direction, was tempered by a second interception in as many weeks, raising questions about whether the dual-threat star has fully regained his previous form. However, Klubnik's pedigree is undeniable, and history suggests that setbacks are temporary for a player of his caliber. If Clemson stumbles in upcoming games against Haynes King and Georgia Tech, we could see Klubnik replaced in scouting conversations. But assuming he regains his rhythm, the Browns will have yet another potential first-round quarterback option to evaluate carefully. When you step back and look at the broader landscape, it's clear the Browns are entering a period of both uncertainty and incredible opportunity. The NFL's quarterback carousel is as relentless as ever, and the team in Berea cannot afford to wait for certainty from its current roster. The beauty of this situation, from a front office perspective, is that the Browns could potentially choose from a slate of highly talented, NFL-ready quarterbacks, players with different styles, strengths, and developmental paths. From the precise and methodical Garrett Nussmeier to the dynamic dual-threat LaNorris Sellers, the headline-grabbing Arch Manning, and the historically proven Cade Klubnik, Cleveland could be positioned to select a quarterback who not only addresses immediate needs, but also has the upside to define a new era in Browns football. It's the kind of decision that shapes a franchise for years, maybe even decades, and the stakes could not be higher. Fans, of course, will have their opinions, and social media will inevitably explode with debates over who is the one for Cleveland. But the reality is that these quarterbacks are still in the college game, still developing, still proving that they can withstand the physical and mental grind of professional football. Each week that passes offers new data points, new opportunities for brilliance, and new risks of disappointment. For the Browns scouting team, every pass, every scramble, and every touchdown or interception will be analyzed, compared, and contextualized, all with one goal in mind: ensuring that the franchise lands a quarterback capable of leading them not just through a single season, but potentially through a playoff run, a division title, and perhaps a championship parade down Superior Avenue. So, while it might feel premature to start projecting the Browns' next franchise quarterback, the reality is that preparation is everything. Garrett Nussmeier, LaNorris Sellers, Arch Manning, and Cade Klubnik are just 4 of the many quarterbacks who could one day wear the Browns' colors and command the huddle in Cleveland. Their journeys are just beginning, but for fans and analysts alike, following their progression is as thrilling as any NFL season itself. The next time the Browns are gearing up for a playoff push, it's very possible that one of these names, perhaps the least expected, perhaps the most hyped, will be the signal caller bringing hope, excitement, and victory back to a city starved for postseason glory. Until then, we'll continue to track performances, celebrate the UPS, analyze the downs, and eagerly anticipate the moment when Cleveland finally makes its move to secure a quarterback who can truly lead them into a new era. The Browns' next chapter could hinge on the success of a single draft pick, and the race to identify that quarterback is already underway. As each college season unfolds, narratives will shift, surprises will emerge, and prospects will either validate their hype or fade into obscurity. But for now, the spotlight shines brightly on these 4 signal callers, each carrying the potential to define the future of one of the NFL's most storied and passionate franchises. Cleveland fans, buckle up. The quarterback hunt is just beginning, and it promises to be a roller coaster ride worth following every step of the way. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The buzz around the NFL right now is all about SHEDEUR Sanders and the surprising turn of events coming out of Cleveland. For weeks, there had been whispers that the Browns were quietly re-evaluating their quarterback situation, but nobody expected it to escalate so quickly. Now, according to what's being whispered in locker rooms and front offices, SHEDEUR is officially on his way out of Cleveland, and the way it all unfolded has left everyone talking. What makes this story even juicier is that head coach Kevin Stefanski himself, in what seemed like a mix of farewell and a playful jab, reportedly told SHEDEUR, "Good luck in Pittsburgh," practically confirming the quarterback's next destination with the rival Steelers. This one isn't just a simple roster move. This feels like a shift that could ripple through the entire AFC North for seasons to come. Think about it. SHEDEUR came into Cleveland with so much expectation, not only because of his name and pedigree, but also because fans saw him as a potential long-term answer at a position where the Browns have struggled for decades. He carried himself with confidence. He had moments that flashed brilliance, and there were times when it really looked like the Browns might have finally struck gold. But the NFL is unforgiving, and Cleveland has always been a market that demands immediate results. When the offense sputtered, when the protection broke down, and when the losses began to pile up, suddenly that honeymoon phase between SHEDEUR and the fanbase faded quicker than anyone expected. Behind the scenes, there's been tension too. Sources close to the organization have suggested that Stefanski's system never truly clicked with SHEDEUR's style. Stefanski prefers structure, rhythm, and meticulous execution, while SHEDEUR thrives in improvisation, extending plays, and leaning on raw talent. That mismatch reportedly led to heated meetings, a lack of trust, and ultimately the realization that this marriage was not meant to last. The Browns didn't want to waste years trying to mold a quarterback into something he's not, and SHEDEUR wasn't about to let his young career stall in a system that didn't let him be himself. The split, then, became inevitable. And then comes Pittsburgh, the Steelers of all teams. If you're a Browns fan, this is the worst possible scenario. Your young quarterback, the guy who was supposed to lead you into the future, walks straight into the arms of your hated division rival. Imagine SHEDEUR in black and gold, lining up against Cleveland twice a year, with a chip on his shoulder and the chance to prove that the Browns gave up on him too soon. That's not just rivalry fuel. That's the kind of storyline the NFL dreams about. You can already picture the national broadcasts hyping up SHEDEUR's revenge every time Pittsburgh and Cleveland meet. What makes this even spicier is Stefanski's comment. When a head coach tells a player, "Good luck in Pittsburgh," it's not just a goodbye. It's a wink to everyone around that he knows exactly where this player is heading. It's as if Stefanski was saying, "We're done here, but hey, I'll be seeing you soon, just on the other sideline." That kind of farewell isn't standard coach speak. It's personal, it's pointed, and it's going to add another layer to an already heated AFC North battle. Cleveland versus Pittsburgh was always intense, but now it's got this added storyline of a quarterback who used to belong to one side, now taking snaps for the other. From the Steelers' perspective, this is a fascinating move. Mike Tomlin has been searching for stability at quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger retired, and while Pittsburgh has experimented with stopgap solutions, nothing has quite clicked. Bringing in SHEDEUR could be seen as a gamble, but it's one with massive upside. He's young, he's hungry, and he brings star power. Tomlin is known for being a player's coach, the kind of leader who knows how to get the best out of personalities that might not fit into rigid systems elsewhere. In that sense, SHEDEUR might thrive in Pittsburgh in ways he never could in Cleveland. The Steelers don't need perfection, they need playmaking, and SHEDEUR can bring exactly that. Of course, the Browns' locker room reaction is another subplot worth watching. Some players had grown close to SHEDEUR, appreciating his leadership qualities and his confidence even during tough stretches. Others may have felt the frustrations of inconsistency and will quietly welcome a reset. Either way, the reality is that Cleveland has once again hit the reset button on the most important position in football, and that's a narrative fans are tired of hearing. How many times can this franchise sell hope, only to snatch it away when things don't work out? The ghost of quarterbacks past lingers in Cleveland, and losing a promising name like SHEDEUR to Pittsburgh only deepens that scar. The media frenzy around this move is only beginning, but already fans are divided. Browns supporters are torn between relief and dread. Relief that the experiment is over, that maybe a better-suited quarterback will step in and finally align with Stefanski's vision. But dread at the thought of SHEDEUR flourishing in Pittsburgh, turning into the kind of star they've been desperate to have on their own sideline. On the other hand, Steelers fans are buzzing with excitement. The idea of stealing away a rival's young quarterback feels like a power move, and the thought of Tomlin shaping SHEDEUR into a winner has the fanbase dreaming of playoff runs once again. There's also the family angle. Being the son of Deion Sanders, SHEDEUR has always been under a microscope. Everything he does is scrutinized, every success is celebrated loudly, and every failure is magnified. Moving to Pittsburgh means carrying not just his own career, but also the weight of expectation tied to his last name. And knowing SHEDEUR's mentality, this isn't pressure that scares him, it's fuel. Imagine him walking into Pittsburgh with a mission, not just to prove himself, but to prove Cleveland wrong, to prove the doubters wrong, and to carve out his own legacy separate from his father's. That narrative alone is going to dominate headlines for months. So here we are, in the middle of one of the most intriguing quarterback shakeups of recent memory. SHEDEUR leaving the Browns isn't just about roster construction. It's about identity, rivalry, and pride. Stefanski's farewell line might have been short and sweet, but it spoke volumes. Good luck in Pittsburgh wasn't just a goodbye. It was a challenge, a reminder that the story isn't over, that the next chapter is going to be written on the field when these two teams clash. And make no mistake, the football world will be watching every single snap when SHEDEUR faces the Browns for the first time in a Steelers uniform. If this move becomes official, and all signs point to it being just a matter of time, we're looking at one of those league-shifting moments. The Browns are once again searching for answers, while the Steelers may have just found theirs. Fans will argue, pundits will debate, and rivalries will only get nastier. That's the beauty of the NFL. It's not just about the X's and O's, it's about the drama, the personalities, the rivalries that feel personal. And SHEDEUR Sanders leaving Cleveland for Pittsburgh? That's the kind of storyline that will be talked about for years, whether it ends in triumph or heartbreak. And so, the Browns close the SHEDEUR chapter with a blunt, almost mocking goodbye, while the Steelers prepare to welcome a new face of their franchise. The tension is thick, the excitement is real, and the NFL has once again delivered the kind of drama you just can't script. Whether you're a believer in SHEDEUR's talent or a skeptic of his fit, one thing is certain. This move has set the stage for fireworks in the AFC North. And as Stefanski himself said, perhaps with a smirk, perhaps with genuine well wishes, good luck in Pittsburgh. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!